Hi, Orange Girl here with another scrapbooking process video for you. I am working with the February sketch at Paper Issues today. Anything you see here or in the shop you can purchase at Paper Issues, and you can get 20% off by using the code Orange Girl. So I started out ahead of time by setting everything up in my Silhouette software and having my Silhouette Cameo use the sketch pen to actually put the journaling on the page for me in the form of a circle. So if you're interested in knowing how I do that, I will link a video below, and probably in the upper right hand corner you'll be able to click on that right about now. And then you'll be able to see how that works. So first, in my software, I set up the heart file, which this heart file is a free file from the Paper Issue store. It's called Heart Wreath, and will be linked below as well. And I cut that out of basil white marshmallow cardstock, and then did the same with my journaling, same paper, same kind of paper. I love this paper, especially if I'm going to add mixed media to it. In this case, because I'm not really wanting to move paint all around all that much, I didn't even have to gesso it or anything. It's really thick paper. It holds the paint really well, and I love it. So what I'm using here are two different colors of Vicki Boutin paint. One is a pink color, one is a red, and I'm just moving it around the inside. It'll go behind my cut file, and then I added a little water to the paint and I'm splattering it on. So while that's drying, now I can kind of concentrate on what I want to do with the rest of my layout. So I'm using the Doodlebug Valentine collection. I think it's called Love Notes, and I'm using the 6x6 paper pack. I'm not going to do every single one of these hearts, but I am going to back some of them. So as you can see, all I'm really doing here is using my pen to just using the actual cut file as a stencil, and then I'm using my pen, to kind of go around it and cut it out freehand. So then once I've done that, now I'm going to move on to some other things. So I decided I would use the same 3 papers that I used in my hearts to create kind of a big title. So in the actual sketch, it says long title here, and so I just made it a big title. And my journaling on this page all starts with, right now this girl blah blah blah, right now this girl blah blah blah, and I'll read that to you in just a second. But so it just says that over and over. So that's what my title is. This girl, I went ahead and I cut out freehand. You can kind of see how I did that using the 3 same papers that I used for my hearts, to back my hearts. And then I didn't like the way it looked, so I went ahead and backed each one of those again with some yellow paper, and also from that 6x6 pad. And then I'm using these yellow letters to say right now, and I'm going to put a yellow border around it. So I'm kind of pulling yellow out of the papers that are in the background here, and kind of making that a little bit of a focus color, because I have already so much pink and red on here that I just didn't want it to look too pink and red. I wanted to add those other colors in. So I started by adding in some of the yellow. I still couldn't see it very well, so I went through, you saw me just with my pen, and I just went, you'll be able to see this in the close-ups, I just went around each of the letters with my black pen. Then I decided that I wanted to highlight some of the hearts a little bit more and since these are nice thick hearts, I thought I could use some stitching there. So I just did like 3 or 4 hearts, and now I'm going to put some foam adhesive on the back of each of the hearts that are backed, and then yeah, so it'll just be sticking up a little bit. And so through some of the hearts that I didn't back, you can see that red. And then some of the other hearts, obviously, I backed with the pattern paper. So I like it. I kind of stuck with the sketch pretty close. You can see the sketch there on the bottom left. And I just went with the idea of the circle. I went with the idea of the hearts. and the kind of big title. And then I love the way that I was able to get the journaling around the outside. So I did not add adhesive to the back of my title. So that is mostly underneath the cut file. So then also in the sketch, there are two spots kind of down on the bottom right and the top left that have a little like hint of embellishment or an idea that maybe you're going to want to embellish there. And so I went through some of the ephemera that I purchased with this collection. I purchased like three different packs. I think they're called bits and pieces or something like that. And I got three different packs of things, and one of them has a lot of these speech bubbles and hearts and different things like that. And one of them has flowers, and I wasn't really sure what I was, and some have phrases and banners. And so I kind of pulled those out and just kind of started to grab some things. I wanted to stick with that yellow, so I grabbed some yellow things as something I wanted to kind of highlight. And then I'm going to go ahead and add, this isn't in the sketch, but I'm going to add these two hearts at the top and two hearts at the bottom. I just like the way they look. So I'm just going to add those two in the corners there. I used the sticker sheet here to add a couple of little hearts to the hearts that are already on those little speech bubbles. The speech bubbles say, love you or love this or something like that on them. And so I just liked those, but it was the only thing that I had with text. And so I decided to go ahead and add the hearts up on the top left and bottom right that would have a little bit of speech, or not speech, but text on them as well. So I put a little heart in the center of the R, and then I drew around the outside of that with my pen as well, so it would kind of mimic the font or the letters that I used. Also on the sketch, there's a little bit of embellishment that is indicated to be on the photo, so I decided to just use a little bit more of that yellow thread that I used to do my stitching, the embroidery floss, and I just added that. So then when I do this, and I add those little hearts and that you rock up in the upper left, some of that stuff, and the heart in the bottom right, all of those things have like some teal in it. So I'm going to add a little bit more teal to some of this as well. So here's my journaling. It starts, there's a yellow heart up in the top left corner, and that's kind of where it starts. And it says, right now this girl is creating every waking moment. Right now this girl loves everything Beatles and Paul McCartney. Right now this girl is writing songs every time she breathes. Right now this girl loves YouTube video watching and making. Right now this girl video chats with her friends whenever possible. Right now this girl got her first pimple. She named it Sheila. Love this girl. And so, yeah, so that's my journaling, and I really wanted to get that story down. So I just picked a photo, a recent photo of her, and it's her with a snowman that we made together with my grandsons. And so I'm not telling that story, I'm telling a different story. So anyway, I decided to add a little bit of teal down here. So I'm going to do one little stitch on this heart and one little stitch up at the top. The other places that I've added some teal, I think already to my layout, is I added some teal tangled thread behind a couple of the clusters, behind the photo. So I kind of like just had a few ideas of just putting a few little pops of the teal in there. Just once I got the layout kind of pretty much done, I decided it just needed that. So I added those pops of teal. I really like how this one turned out. I like that it has the messy element of the red and pink paint, but that it's still kind of structured. I don't know if structured is the right word. Graphic, I don't know. I still like the way, the messy hearts and the messy background, but then the rest of it is pretty non-messy layout. So there is what it looks like in the end, and here come a few close-ups. Like I said, if you want to know how to do any of that journaling piece, you can just click on the linked video below, and that is linked here within this video, and I'll show you how I did that in my Silhouette software. So thanks a lot for stopping by, and I will see you in my next video.